What if the water you drink every morning is quietly smothering the pilot light that powers your energy? What if that internal stillness, a kind of metabolic stagnation I call the dead water era, is the hidden reason you wake up heavy, drag through mid-morning, and still feel wiped after 8 hours of sleep? If that sounds familiar, stay with me. I'm going to show you a two-part, ancestral-rooted approach and a precise 2-minute ritual that can help you test whether dead water is a core part of your fatigue story. Imagine your metabolism as a hearth. The gut is the chimney where ash can build up. The thyroid is the pilot light, the small steady flame that warms everything. The pineal gland is a subtle regulator, the night watch that keeps your rhythms in tune. Over years of stress, dietary sludge, environmental pressure, what some traditions called ash, that chimney fills. Without clearing that ash, simply trying to strike the pilot again won't work. That is the dead water error, internal stagnation that dulls the spark, leaving you chronically tired even when everything else seems normal. A century ago, a figure often called the sleeping prophet popularized an apple-based cleanse that addressed this same idea. Clear metabolic ash, so the inner flame can return. I'm naming that historical link not to claim medical authority for him, but to show lineage, an ancestral insight translated into a modern, conservative protocol. The apple fast is the cleansing half of the picture, practical and time-tested in folk practice. But apples alone tend to be incomplete. You need both clearance and ignition. Today, I'll outline the two-part approach, focus on the reproducible ignition ritual you can do in 2 minutes and give you a clear 7-day tracking plan so you can measure whether this nudges your energy back to life. First, the overview. Part 1 is the cleanse, a contextual option some use as a precursor, often a short, intentional period of lighter eating, including apples or fiber-forward choices to encourage gut clearance. I offer this as background and optional preparation, not a mandatory step. Part 2 is the ignition ritual, a precise morning micro-practice that I consider the core actionable test. Do both if you want the full ancestral lineage. Do the ignition alone as a focused experiment. Either way, observe and track. Before I show the exact ritual, take a moment. If you're ready to try this with me for a week, type "I ignited" in the comments now and join the 1-week test group. That single line will mark you as someone willing to gather data rather than chasing promises. Here is the ritual, step by step, with the precision that matters. Use a clean glass vessel, anything transparent so you can watch the drop move. Fill it to roughly half a medium glass with room temperature, filtered water. Think gentle, not cold. Prepare 1 drop of the atomic iodine preparation we're discussing. Product names vary, but the form is a dilute iodine tincture intended for microdosing, not high-dose therapy. Place the dropper tip just above the water and release exactly 1 drop into the glass. Gently stir the water clockwise with the dropper or a clean spoon, making a slow, deliberate circle until the iodine disperses. Clockwise to symbolize ignition, a subtle ritual choice that helps your nervous system engage. Now, set your watch and take 2 minutes to sip rhythmically. Slow sips, every 5 to 8 seconds, about the cadence of a calm breath. Breathe diaphragmatically as you sip. Inhale through your nose, allow your belly to expand. Exhale slowly. Keep your shoulders relaxed. The goal is a rhythmic, calming activation, a micro-ritual that signals your body to clear and relight the pilot. Repeat this each morning for 5 consecutive days, then rest 2 days. That's the core 5 on 2 off schedule. It's a sustainable rhythm you can repeat as a cycle. A few technical clarifications. By atomic iodine, I mean a dilute iodine preparation used in tiny amounts. I will not advise any higher doses here. Product labels vary. Read them and consult a professional if you have thyroid conditions or take endocrine medications. This is not a replacement for medical care. Do not discontinue prescribed medications. If you are pregnant, nursing, have diagnosed thyroid disease, or are taking hormone-related drugs, stop and consult your provider before trying this. If, during or after the ritual, you notice palpitations, tremors, sudden flushing, dizziness, or other alarming symptoms, stop immediately and seek medical attention. These are red flags. Safety is paramount. Approach this as a cautious experiment, not a cure-all. Why might such a small act matter physiologically? Think back to the hearth. A small, consistent signal delivered at the right moment can shift local chemistry. The iodine in microdoses interacts with thyroid physiology in subtle ways. The act of rhythmic sipping with diaphragmatic breathing engages the vagal tone, the parasympathetic brake, which calms adrenal tension and allows metabolic regulation to reassert itself. Clearing gut stagnation reduces low-grade inflammatory signaling that can smother the pilot light. The pineal thyroid axis, sometimes talked about as the thyropineal loop, is about rhythm, light, sleep, and hormonal cadence. Small ritual acts that clear and resynchronize can show you whether stagnation was a limiting factor. Again, this is a conservative framing rooted in physiology and ancestral practice, not a promise of universal outcomes. Now, how to measure whether the dead water era is relevant for you? For 7 days, starting the morning you first do the 2-minute ritual. Score 3 markers daily. First, bloating on a scale from 0 to 10. 0 means no bloating. 10 means very uncomfortable, hard to move feeling. Second, energy on a scale from 0 to 10. 0 means completely depleted. 10 means vibrantly alert. Third, a clarity note. One short line that captures your mental state that day. Foggy, steady, sharp, or on edge. Record these numbers and notes each morning before you eat, and again in the early afternoon if you want more granularity. Many people report shifts by day 3, a small drop in bloating scores and a subtle lift in energy. The key is trend over 7 days, not a single dramatic jump. If your bloating decreases steadily and energy nudges upward over several days, that suggests internal stagnation was part of the problem. If there's no trending change, the dead water era is less likely the core driver, and you'll have useful data to guide next steps. Expect modest, plausible changes. Some participants notice immediate sensory shifts, less morning heaviness, clearer mind, while others require repeated cycles to see cumulative benefit. The 5-on-2-off pattern is about rhythm and sustainability. Over time, small consistent habits compound into systemic adjustments. Ritual is not magic, it's disciplined nudge work. A few practical tips for better data and compliance. Do your scoring at roughly the same times every day. Keep other variables relatively stable, similar sleep schedule, comparable meals, so you're isolating the ritual effect. If you do choose to include a preparatory apple-based cleanse, keep it light and intentional. Think whole fruit and fiber, not extreme fasting. Use that preparation only if it suits your constitution. And again, never stop or change prescribed medications without your clinician's guidance. Let's be clear about risks and boundaries. This practice uses an iodine preparation. Iodine affects thyroid function. If you have a known thyroid disorder, autoimmune thyroid disease, or are on thyroid replacement or suppressive therapy, you must consult your provider before trying this. Pregnant and nursing people should avoid it unless cleared by their clinician. If you feel palpitations, tremors, unexplained flushing, or sharp changes in mood or heart rate during the ritual, stop immediately and seek medical advice. This is a low-dose, conservative approach, but individual responses vary, and safety comes first. Why emphasize sovereignty? Because tending your inner hearth is not about dependency on any single protocol. It's about reclaiming attention and choosing disciplined, measurable actions. This ritual is a tool that gives feedback. You try it, you track, and you learn. That feedback loop is what builds resilience. You are the keeper of your inner flame. Small, precise rituals practiced with intention can reveal what your body needs. If the dead water era is present, you'll likely see a pattern. Less bloat, more morning clarity, steadier energy. If not, you've still engaged in useful self-measurement and can pursue other routes with better information. A few real-world notes that keep this grounded in 2026. Our lives are denser with stress, more screen time, and a general background of environmental strain, factors that can favor internal stagnation. Mentioning that context underscores urgency without melodrama. When systems are under steady load, small clearing and ignition practices can be worth investigating. Keep your experiments modest and keep your clinicians in the loop. If you commit to this one-week test, here's a simple daily pattern. Each morning, do the 2-minute iodine ritual, score bloating 0-10, energy 0-10, and jot a 1-line clarity note. Continue for 5 mornings straight, rest 2 days, and observe your 7-day trend. After 1 week, post a single-line result in the comments, less bloating, steady energy, no change, or 1 quick observation. That will help the community gather real-world signals without hype. If this message landed with you, if you feel the dead water error might explain part of your exhaustion, make a modest commitment. Try the ritual as directed, track honestly, and treat the results as data, not proof. If you found this useful, and you're ready to join others in a cautious, measured experiment, type "I ignited" in the comments to signal you're in. After a week, come back and share your single-line result so others can learn. This is an invitation to practice sovereignty over your metabolism. Clear before you spark, tend your hearth with disciplined small acts, and read your own data. If the pilot light has been smothered by slow internal ash, this protocol is a precise, conservative way to test that hypothesis and begin to nudge the system towards steady warmth. If you want more guided cycles, deeper tracking templates, or a walkthrough of the optional cleansing context, tell me in the comments, and I'll prepare a follow-up focused on safe preparation and longer-term rhythm. If you found this helpful, like and subscribe for more practical, ancestral-informed tools to support your energy and resilience. And when you complete the 7-day test, post 1 line about your experience. Your single result can help someone else decide whether the dead water error might be their missing piece.